Rumors blazed through every fan circle that Travis Kelce might propose to Taylor Swift, live on the New Heights podcast, and the buzz only intensified as the day of the episode approached, with diehard Swifties and NFL faithful debating whether this would finally be the moment when the world saw one of the most high-profile engagements in pop culture history unfold before their eyes. The speculation took on a life of its own, fueled by secretive teasers, cryptic social media posts, and a single image leaked online. A mint green briefcase marked with Taylor's initials, TS, clutched tightly by Travis as he entered the podcast studio, a move that sent the internet into a collective frenzy. As the New Heights studio lights brightened, there was a crackling energy in the air, the familiar backdrop of sibling banter replaced by a sense that something extraordinary was about to happen. Travis Kelce, grinning wider than ever, sat beside his brother Jason, both of them sharing a private joke as the camera rolled, and their special guest, Taylor Swift herself, took her seat at the table for the first time. The announcement that she'd joined the show had already rocketed the podcast's numbers, but what happened in the studio that day felt different from anything before. Jason wasted no time in pointing out how meticulously Travis had prepared for Taylor's arrival. He teased that he'd never seen his brother polish a table, arrange microphones, or light candles before an episode, making everyone laugh, including Taylor, who couldn't hide her amusement at the lengths Travis had. "Gone to make everything perfect," Travis responded, insisting that Taylor was important enough for all the extra effort, his voice softer than the bravado he usually showed on the field. Taylor's entrance, casual in a cream sweater and jeans, radiated a down-to-earth charm that instantly made listeners feel at home despite her superstar status. She greeted the audience warmly, admitting she'd been curious for ages about what happened behind the scenes of New Heights and was glad to finally see it for herself. Jason, ever the host, let her know that she'd picked the right day, since questions from fans had been pouring in for her all week. The conversation quickly settled into an easy rhythm, the three of them sounding less like celebrities and more like old friends catching up at their kitchen table. The topic everyone wanted to hear about, Taylor's relationship with Travis, came up right away. Jason asked what convinced her to finally do the podcast, and Taylor said honestly that she wanted to see Travis in his natural habitat, talking to Jason as his truest self, different from his public persona, quieter and more thoughtful at home, but animated and talkative when the mics were on. Travis feigned outrage, joking that he was only trying to keep the podcast interesting, while Jason kept the questions coming rapid fire, making both his brother and Taylor laugh out loud with his relentless comic timing. He asked Taylor if she'd ever written a song about Travis, if fans could expect it on the next album, and who was the better cook between them. He even quipped about whether she ever shouted advice during Chiefs games. "Throw the ball to Travis." Taylor handled each question with her trademark blend of mystery and humor, refusing to confirm or deny a song about Travis, giving him the win in baking but claiming dessert for herself, and confessing that her game day shouts were often unfit for TV. The camaraderie and genuine connection between the trio was magnetic, with listeners drawn in by the effortless flow of jokes and stories. But beneath the laughter, there was a sense that two worlds were truly merging. Taylor's poetic, solitary songwriting and Travis's bruising high-octane football life. Taylor shared her story of attending Arrowhead Stadium for the first time, describing the thrill of being swept up in a sea of red, the difference between her concerts and the electricity of an NFL crowd, the overwhelming sense of unity and adrenaline that came with cheering alongside thousands of Chiefs fans. Travis beamed with pride as Taylor revealed herself to be a true football fan, loud, supportive, and unafraid to jeer the referees. Jason, never letting a moment pass, asked if Travis had tried to teach Taylor the ins and outs of football. Taylor said he had, and though she was still learning the terminology, she could at least spot a tight end on the field now, throwing a playful glance at Travis that sent the studio into another fit of laughter. The talk shifted naturally to music, with Jason and Travis eager to hear about Taylor's creative process. Taylor explained that songwriting always began with a feeling or a phrase that wouldn't leave her mind, sometimes pouring out in an afternoon, other times taking months, but always grounded in honesty. Travis listened, visibly moved, saying that's what made her music special to him, how it was always real, never just words. The episode also pulled back the curtain on the couple's private life, with Taylor sharing that their favorite date. Nights were often spent at home, cooking together or watching movies, though they always ended up talking through the film and missing the plot. Jason joked that Taylor was probably the one starting all the deep conversations, and Taylor admitted she was guilty as charged, but Travis was never shy about sharing his own thoughts either. Fans watching live bombarded the chat with questions, and Jason picked a few to ask Taylor, including how she managed to keep her personal relationships healthy amid so much public attention. Taylor said it all came down to boundaries, fiercely guarding her downtime and keeping her circle tight, with family, friends, and Travis, who all helped her stay grounded and real. The authenticity in the room was palpable, with Taylor, the global icon, laughing at inside jokes and chatting about baking and football games, sharing a side of herself rarely seen in public. As the episode neared its end, Jason turned reflective, asking both Taylor and Travis what kept them motivated after reaching the top of their respective fields. Taylor said she was always chasing the next story, the next song, and never wanted to stop growing, while Travis said it was about being there for his team, always striving to get better for himself and everyone who believed in him. The sense of respect and partnership between them was impossible to miss, and listeners responded in droves, flooding social media with praise and calling it the best episode of New Heights yet. Then, just as the show seemed to be winding down, the biggest surprise of all unfolded. Jason, unable to resist one last joke, asked Taylor if she'd come back on the podcast if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Taylor grinned mischievously and promised she'd return and bring cake if that happened, sending fans into a frenzy of excitement and anticipation. As the cameras kept rolling, Travis reached over and squeezed Taylor's hand, a simple, tender gesture that said more than words ever could. For a brief, shining moment, the glittering world of music and the hard-edged world of football came together, and the result was pure magic, replayed and shared across every social platform. Yet what remained after the laughter faded was the authenticity, the realization that behind all the headlines and flashing lights, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were just two people enjoying each other's company and letting the world in on a little piece of their happiness. As the episode ended and fans began the countdown to the next New Heights release, it was clear that the podcast had set a new bar for celebrity interviews, turning what might have been a standard Q&A into an unexpected, heartfelt, and completely unforgettable broadcast. With every replay, more fans speculated about that green briefcase and whether the next episode would finally bring the long-awaited proposal.